So, to the kind individuals that noticed that I was wearing the same shirt 2 nights in a row, um, I am wearing black tonight instead of white. In full defense of myself, though, it was the same shirt. It was clean both times. I'm sure a lot of you can relate, especially those of you that have small children in the house. We are doing at least one load of laundry a day, it feels like. And at some points, it's easier just to take out of the clean pile versus putting it away. So it was clean both times. But tonight we are taking on a new shirt, definitely clean and moving in a different direction. That being said, tonight I wanted to dive into unemployment a little bit more. I know I've talked about it a little bit in the past, and just wanted to bring the topic up. I know it's a topic that is very close to people. There are quite a few people that are dealing with it themselves. There are quite a few people that, if they're not dealing with themselves, friends, family, loved ones are dealing with it. So it's something that's very real in all of our lives. From that perspective. So I just wanted to kind of bring it up. I wanted to talk a little bit more about it, some of the things that we're seeing, some of the things that we're tracking, and most importantly, some of the things that we should expect in weeks to come. As I said before, the unemployment rates have been astonishingly high. I mean, crippling, to the sense of there's been discussion and talk of the Great Depression, and is this going to rival that 12-year economic rebuild on the backside. The thing that first and foremost I want to start with is what I talked about before, is that this has been an economic shutdown, and that a lot of this has been planned and executed as planned, with the idea that, unlike in previous crisis, whether financial, housing, medical, whatever the case may be, the unemployment has always been kind of a reactionary tail end of things. Let's keep everybody we can with us. Let's hold on. Let's fight for everything. And then the companies go out of business because they've got nothing to stand on their own 2 feet. And then the company is gone as the economy starts to get better. The economic plan behind a lot of this, for most companies that are looking to this, to say, how do we stay afloat so that we can give jobs back to these people when the time comes? So it's been a much different course so far. That being said, millions and millions of people are filing for unemployment. There's obviously some very scary headlines out there. Interestingly enough, this last week we did see that unemployment went down. It's been averaging around 6 million registrants weekly. This past week it went down to, I think it was around 5.2 million. So that was good to see, but in my opinion, which, as you guys know, is based on people that are way smarter than I am, that was a false positive. Yes, it looks good. Yes, it makes us feel better. But the reality is we're still not getting a full perspective of these numbers. The big reason why behind this has to do with the fact that in certain states, there are people that have been unemployed for the last 30 days that haven't been allowed to apply yet. A lot of states, independent contractors can't. A lot of states, part-time workers can't. So these are people that are probably in the coming weeks going to be able to apply. And so first and foremost, it's really important for us to understand these numbers are absolutely going to get worse. No doubt about it. You are going to see the unemployment continue to rise as we get deeper in it. It's not that more and more people are continuing to get laid off. It's that more people are getting the ability to, or the information to apply. There's definitely people out there, even within my own industry, that are kind of saying, well, I'm still gainfully employed. I'm not making any money. So independent contractors are now being considered for unemployment as well. So there's people that don't even know that they can apply it. So if you have one takeaway from me tonight, just know that those numbers are going to get worse, and that doesn't necessarily mean that our economy is going to a worse place and that you should have fear from that, because you and I both know from my previous conversations, the media is going to use that to scare us. So I just wanted to make sure that we knew that. Other insights on this with regards to, I did make mention of the Great Depression. There's, in the last week, we've seen a lot of conversations, a lot of analysts kind of comparing us back to that, talking about, is our current stimulus plan, like quote unquote, the New Deal, is it going to fail like it did in the beginning? On that, I'm not going to get too deep into those pieces, but I think we have to once again recognize some very, very substantial differences of what happened then versus how a smarter, more educated version of us is handling things now. The most important thing to understand for the Great Depression, the majority of the job sector, when there was so much unemployment, was all agriculture. There was no hospitality industry. There was no restaurant industry. There was no travel industry. All of these industries that right now are getting decimated, they didn't even exist at that time. It was all agricultural. And if you go back into history, what spurred this on was essentially a 3-year drought. So farmers didn't have the ability to grow their crops or whatever it was that they were growing. And that tailspun into one of the worst economic times in our history. It ended up lasting 12 plus years. So obviously there's a lot of fear as we're going through something that is getting related back to that, and a lot of fear back to that is this going to take 12 years for us to respond to? Once again, a lot of differences in terms of that part of the sector. Obviously, we have a lot of different industries getting hit here, not just one industry within the world that's dominating the world. So that's a good thing for us. The other thing that's important to note that there was definitely parts of the New Deal that worked, but during that time, part of the issue with the Great Depression and what happened and why it was so hard for us to come back from it, our banking industry failed. We allowed our banking industry to collapse, and that then tailspin throughout everything. And I think that's really important. That's why we see so much support into the banking systems now. Government and policymakers know whatever we do, we can't let the banks fail. We can't let them collapse on that. Anyway, so we're learning from those mistakes. It is a very, very different time. Even everything that we're seeing, even everything that we're looking at, most of our projections, if we go to the complete analyst, most of the projections on this unemployment is that they're really expecting us to be at a much different level by the end of this year. Still high, still higher than we want it to be, but at a much better level. And then within about 2 years, they're really hoping that we're pretty similar to where we were before all of this started. So I know 1 to 2 years sounds like a long time, but in the grand scope of things, when we're being compared back to a 12-year economic downturn, I think that 2 years to feel like we're getting back to a good place is important. So I just thought that was really important news for us to share, just in terms of the unemployment. I know that's hitting home a lot with people. I know that it's very, very scary out there, and I get that. But let's kind of remember the differences. Let's remember the good stuff. So since I'm getting incredibly long-winded on stuff that can be very boring for a lot of people, be kind. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself. Take care of one another. Take care of yourself. Be responsible in your social distancing. We are doing well. We are going to continue to do well. If you are in a state where they are starting to release some of the restrictions, still please remember to be smart. We're winning this war, so to say. I really feel like we are. I know there's people that don't feel like we are, but I do. And I am looking forward to getting through it with you. So have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow.